Independent candidate Stephenson King has received another high-profile endorsement, this time from fellow former Prime Minister and former cabinet colleague Michael Pilgrim. In a statement issued Wednesday, Pilgrim spoke of a call from then ailing Prime Minister Sir John Compton, seeking his advice on the selection of a successor.
Let me hear your thoughts as to my successor. Without blinking, I said confidently, Stephenson King.
Pilgrim said Sir John, in his selection of a successor, was swayed by many of the notable qualities of Stephenson King.
Sir John chose an astute successor who is honest, hard-working, committed, and has a social conscience. He chose someone who is not arrogant, conceited, haughty, or revolting. Sir John wanted a successor who is sincere, genuine, and humble. One who is not selfish and greedy. One who is not corrupt, and above all, a person who understood the Saint Lucian folklore and the sensitivity of the Saint Lucian people. He wanted to choose a person who would be accepted by the Saint Lucian public and who the people loved. This gentleman was no other than the Honorable Stephenson King.
Michael Pilgrim, the 1992 and 1997 United Workers' Party candidate for Grosile, along with other senior former UWP politicians, was recently dismissed as a relic of the political past by the UWP incumbent candidate for Grosile, Leonard Spider Montoute.
Those redundant politicians who are trying to bring themselves back into the limelight, I have no time for them. I look at the Saint Lucia Labour Party platform here in Grosile. Tom Walcott, Clarence Rambali, Mikey Pilgrim, all derelicts of the past, of the dinosaur political era. They refuse to accept that the sun has set for them, and they're struggling to remain in the limelight.
Michael Pilgrim, who says he introduced Leonard Spider Montoute to then Prime Minister Dr. Vaughan Lewis, recounted his discussion with Sir John Compton about Leonard Montoute, who was one of the contenders to succeed Sir John.
I know Spider Montoute is your friend, and you introduced him to Vaughan Lewis as a suitable person to replace you as a candidate for the Grosile constituency. Do you know his profession or what he studied at university? I stammered and said, I believe he studied something to do with sports therapy. Sir John then said, he's a therapist, Mikey, and one would have thought or imagined that since his Prime Minister suffered a stroke, Spider would have offered to massage me or treat me using his special skills. He did none of that, as he was very busy with plans to replace me, as established by his remarks subsequent to arriving in Saint Lucia, after visiting me in the USA. These words were followed by a short period of silence. It was indeed food for thought, for in the deep recesses of my mind, I could recall the words of Spider Montoute. Compton is finished and is not coming back to Saint Lucia alive. These remarks were very untimely and were the most unkindest words of all.
The three-way battle with Andre Pancho de Carres of the National Green Party, Leonard Spider Montoute, the incumbent of the United Workers' Party, and the main challenger, Kenson Bebe Kazime of the St. Lucia Labour Party, is one that is being closely monitored for an early indication of the outcome of the general election. Saint Lucia for the HTS News Force.